you know, there are just some days at work that are way more draining than others. But with that being said, let's head to Walmart and go buy some cheap fishing gear to show you guys how to fish for cheap and catch plenty of fish. Ended up turning out a lot cheaper than I was expecting. I think I was expecting like 30-40 bucks, which is still pretty cheap for fishing, but this came out to, let's see, about 30 bucks, but still. That's with a 7.5 tax. Without tax, it came out to 25 bucks. With tax, 27.06, which isn't bad at all. A lot cheaper than what I was expecting, but see if you can see that, 27.06. And I got a good amount of stuff too, so get into all that. So when it comes to my fishing setups, I've always kind of gone super easy, basic, and simple. And this is a setup that you could use for pretty much just like big fish. But I've used it with trout, I've used it with bass, I've used it with catfish, carp. I've got carp with it. Super simple, super easy, and this stuff came out to be super cheap, and you can get all this stuff at any Walmart. It's all Walmart brand, and I actually ended up picking up some stuff that I just needed along the way too. So so first things first, this is the fishing rod that I got. This is so it's a two-piece rod. Two-piece rods, they have their ups and their downs. Sometimes when you're casting, you could lose it and it flies off. If you reel back in and you have your hook, you can reel back in. The best solution I've found to that with two-piece rods is one, not casting as hard, and two, if you just cram it in there as hard as you can, it stays in there pretty good. So like I said, when you're casting, you're not gonna need a lot of weight, especially with the setup that I go on. You're not gonna use really heavy weights. So it came in with a pre-spooled reel, so that's super easy and convenient. I was gonna get one without it, so I can show you guys how to go about tying that, spooling it up, but that's probably something I'll get into at a later time. But let's get into the rigging steps that I use, and we'll go out and test it. First thing you have to do with most fishing rods, especially when you're spooling them yourself, is this is also a pretty important step. I might try not to lose all this. This is a pretty important step, probably one of the most important steps, if not the most important. So you have your bail, right? You want to make sure that's flipped closed, it's down, and then you're just going to run your line. Let's see, I got a lot of line here. You're going to want to make sure that's up, goes up and under your bail here, because what it does when you're reeling, it sits in there and then it'll go back and forth through this and help you reel in. So we're just gonna make sure it's up under there like so, and just like that, ready to go. So now what we'll do is we'll run it through all of our eyes, get out a good amount of line, probably about the length of the pole. Go ahead and tighten your bail, so it's a little knob right there on top, just tighten that down. So for my weights, I like to use what are called split shot weights. And they're super simple, super easy. You're not having to run it through, tie a knot, get them stuck on there, anything crazy. But I got a variety of these split shot weights here. This is like $3 for a whole variety of them. But I'm gonna get probably, I don't know, middle size. So you'll put it on here. I'll probably go 6 to 8 inches from where your hook is gonna be at. So we'll get through here. And what I'm going to do is these split shot weights, they tend to slide up and down the pole as you cast and reel in. They'll drag across the bottom and they'll go down and they'll be set on top of your hook. You really don't want that. So we'll get on there about, probably 6 to 8 inches where our hook is going to be at. What I'm going to do is let's take this line and wrap it around probably 2 times. So we're just going to wrap it around 2 times. Just to make sure it's on there. It's not going to slide up and down and, have any problems. We'll just clamp that down. So what that's going to do is that's going to prevent it from it sliding up and down. If you do it once, it'll work. If you just wrap it around once, that's fine. But I have noticed that sometimes it does slip and you still run into that same issue. But when you do it twice, it doesn't. And you're not going to worry about it sliding down your hook. It makes things a lot easier. So I used a pretty small split shot weight. I'm probably gonna toss 2 more on there. Just make sure I have enough weight to get a nice cast out, especially if it's windy. Here in Utah, we get a lot of wind, especially for the days you decide to go fishing. Wind. So I'm gonna throw 2 of those on there. Make sure you get a nice, good cast. And again, it depends on the size of the split shot weight you use. You don't always need that many. You could probably use the big ones, use just 1 and be fine. But I'm using 3 and it'll work just fine. And now with that bottom one being looped around like it is, so what I did is I kept the mouth open. So here, we'll get a bigger one to demonstrate. Like I said, you can use these bigger split shot weights if you want to use, but what I did is they open like that and they clamp shut over your line. So what you can do is you take your line and wrap it around it, over and around twice, and you'll pinch it, closed on it, and then, so that prevents it from sliding up and down. And I put 2 more on top, and so none of them are gonna slide up and down or, cause any major issues. Another thing that I ended up picking up was scissors. Trust me, they're convenient, they're nice to have. I'd recommend getting a pair, or even a pair of nail clippers. Nail clippers are great. So with the hooks, I've always gone with Eagle Claw. They're cheap, they're easy. You're like $2 for a bag. I'm targeting catfish and carp, so I went with a size 1 Eagle Claw hook. There's a variety of fishing knots you could use. The simplest and easiest one I have found is your fisherman's knot, and this is a super easy. It's probably the best for beginners. It's super tight. It's probably one of the strongest fishing knots that there is when it comes to just basic trout. So I'm just gonna take my line, run it through that hole right there. Give me a good amount. And I'm just gonna spin it like 7 times. Just 7 spin, take our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Take the end of my line, run it through that little loop down there that we just made with our line. Run it through there, grab it, and then we're just going to take our end, that end is going to pull it tight. Nice and snug. Boom, just like that. And so those are the little scissors come in hand. That extra line right there that we made from tying up our knot, we're just going to take our scissors, and you don't want to snip up too much, but just enough where it's not going to be an issue. You can cut it off. Boom, just like that. And then I usually like to get a second tug, make sure it's still on nice and snug, which is why I try not to cut off too much, so it just has enough to kind of pull through and tighten it, if that makes sense. So we're going to pull, make sure it's snug, and that's not going to go anywhere. And that is probably the easiest, one of the easiest fishing rods you got that are out there. I've been using it since as long as I've been fishing. I've been fishing for a very long time. It's super simple. It's super easy. Now I'm going to take it out and show you how much this can handle, how many fish you can catch on it, how big a fish you can catch on it. But let's go get out there and put it on. And this fishing rod. Let's see how the fishing rod does. Alright, well, I just pulled up to the fishing spot, and the whole point of this channel is to teach people to get outdoors,
cheap, easy, and fun. And I love being outdoors. I love doing this kind of stuff, but stuff like this, this is just not okay. Drop that in the water, just let it float upstream, and we'll let it sit for a little bit and see if you don't get any bites. Well, just a baby. Probably about the world record for the smallest fish, but that's a fish and we'll take it. I'm gonna go ahead, put that guy back. Gonna go ahead, drop that line back out there, see if we can't catch a bigger fish. Well, just another little baby. But that's still. So the reason why I use such a big hook, and even on catfish, is even on these baby guys, they have such big mouths, even just on the baby ones, that if you use like a size 6 or even a size 5 hook, or even a size 4, these guys tend to gut them. And when they gut a hook, it's almost impossible to get it out. And you have to cut your line, re-rig it, and the fish is just gonna die. So that's why I usually end up going with a bigger hook. It's easier to get it out. Typically they just bite onto it, and they're not going to gut the hooks, so you're not putting them in danger. It's the best way to go about doing it. So, but we'll go put this guy back, toss the line back out there, and again, see if we can catch a bigger fish. I think I kind of pooped in my hand.
That's cool. It's good to know.
Oh, there you go.
That one, yeah.
See, that's why I do this kind of stuff. You know, it's simple, but it's the way God intended things. You know, getting out here, meeting new people, and just, you know, enjoying what God put us on earth for. It's not sitting inside, you know, doing nothing all day. It's getting outside, whether it's fishing, hunting, golfing, you know, bike riding, hiking, whatever it may be. Just being outside and doing things that you enjoy doing, it makes life all the better. And that's the whole reason for me starting up this YouTube channel, is to teach people that there is cheap and easy ways to get out and do these kind of things. And I'm probably maybe 20 minutes from my house, sitting on a river, casting a line, and I spent no more than 30 bucks on it. No more than 35 bucks, 35 bucks on all of this. And I'm having fun. I may not be catching big fish, but I'm catching fish. And you know, and it's the thrill. And as things go on, I want to be able to teach people who didn't have parents in their lives, or you know, people to show them these kind of things, that, you know, there is ways to get out and do this kind of stuff. I've taught everything that I've known, I've done, I've taught myself. That fishing rig setup, I've taught myself. Fishing knots, I've taught myself. How to bait a hook, I've taught myself. And you know, there's so many different things that I've taught myself, and I've had buddies teach me, you know, a lot of different, you know, tips and tricks along the way. So that's the whole goal of this channel, is for me to teach you guys things, and for me to go out and continue learning more things as time goes on, to show people that you can get out there and do these kind of things cheap, easy, and fun. And so I hope this encourages you guys to get out and do these kind of things with your friends. And actually, this channel started out with gaming. That's how this channel started. And now it's kind of grown, and it's going to grow into something bigger. And I kind of have a model that I want to share with you guys. My model is goal. If you are a truck driver or you work in the construction world, they put out goal, get out and look. As you're backing up your truck, you want to get out and make sure that you aren't going to back into anything. Have or use a spotter. I kind of mix it up a little bit, and mine's just get out and live. You know, get out and enjoy life. Get out with your kids. Get out with family, friends, and just enjoy life.
All right, well, that's going to conclude our first official video on this channel. If you guys enjoyed it just as much as I enjoyed making it, make sure to like and subscribe, share. Like I said, the whole purpose of this video is to encourage people to get out there, you know, do things that are easy. You know, this whole fishing thing, it's a lot easier than people make it look. You don't need an expensive rod and reel combo. You don't need to know some fancy, you know, rig and setup. You don't even need some fancy bait. Go into your backyard, pick up a rock, grab some worms out of the ground, and they work just great. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to like and subscribe. See you guys in the next one.